Let's talk about this global event related to food and food security and diversification, sustainability that India is having in the national capital. We're joined by Sidhdhi. Uh, our guest for the evening is Sidhdhi Karnani, co-founder and director of Parvata Foods. Good evening to you, Sidhdhi, and welcome to DD India. Just tell us, in terms of how this show has been conceived. It's a global event. It's the second edition, inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi. What sort of a message does it send out to the world about India's existing prowess and the potential that it has to become the food basket of the world?
I think first of all, I would say more than an event, it is like a food festival where the foods from across the India and I would say across the world is being celebrated here. The kind of participation we are seeing from international countries, other countries here, and the domestic companies, including the larger ones and the young startups, it's tremendous. So it gives a message out to the entire world that India is the largest, like the leader in food producer and would become the largest exporter in the world.
And the PM gave data to substantiate that as well. He said things like how India's share in food exports of processed food has gone from 13 to 23%, that over the last 9 years, the increase in processed food export has been 150%. What else do you think stands out as far as India's food processing journey is concerned in these years and the years to come?
I think the major changes that have happened in the last few years is development of a lot of small scale companies or small scale processors. The kind of schemes which our central government is coming up with in terms of providing easy access of capital to the people or in terms of providing subsidies or just technical know-how. Now you would see, like earlier when we used to talk about food processing, we would think of, very large, big plants and a lot of capital investment, and not everybody can do it. But now in today's time, what we are seeing is across like small cities, villages, the farmer groups are women, SHGs, they are setting up their own processing units, which will strengthen the Indian food processing to a huge extent.
And the perception has been conventionally that processed food in India is mostly about achar, murabba, papad and all that. Hasn't that changed quite a lot dramatically as well? Because now we're catering not just to the Indian diaspora in more than 192 countries in the world, more than 200 countries in the world in fact, but to global food aficionados, to global gourmands.
I completely agree with you. So what has happened is earlier the small scale industries were only these pickles and achars, and that's what India used to be known for. And when you would go to Europe or you would go to US, Indian processed foods would be available only in Indian stores. But now more and more of these foreign technologies, the Indian startups or the Indian companies are adopting that, and we are developing food products which are very highly using sophisticated machines, innovative technologies, which is catering to the global demands.
And the PM mentioned the contribution of three pillars, he termed them. He termed them as farmers, small industries and women. You mentioned small industries, but women are really the true backbone, it seems, of the Indian food processing industry. And that is something that perhaps is being worked upon further to strengthen it.
Right, so if you would see in the agriculture sector across India, it is the women who work more in the fields. But when it comes to in terms of going and selling the produce, collecting the money or getting into little bit sophisticated processing, the men take the lead. But now with the help of all these government schemes, the women are coming to the forefront and they are much more dedicated, sincere to what they are doing, more committed to the work, and that is bringing about the revolution in the Indian food processing.
The other thing is about sustainability in agriculture, and one major thing that India has done is the push for millets, the International Year of Millets. That's a major initiative that India has taken and the world has accepted it. What sort of progress has that made so far in your assessment, and do you feel that it is really taking on the kind of dimension that will help the world, not just where food security goals are concerned, but even sustainability? Like, for that matter, people are saying now that we're having some trouble with the air in NCR. It's being said that perhaps farmers could be encouraged to go for millets instead of paddy.
Right, so I would say when I recently went to Europe and when we travel abroad, so the kind of awareness that I have seen about millets across these foreign countries is huge. So when we used to go earlier for trade fairs and these kind of meetings and events, people would not really talk about millet. So we have a millet called buckwheat and these kind of products in Northeast also, where people, so in the foreign countries, people would not really be much aware of it. But as India is doing the millet year this year, I think this is not just about India. The entire world is now celebrating millet. The impact of this is so huge. So this will really help the farmers to get more markets, and then the sustainability would automatically come in.
And it will be more remunerative as well?
Yes, it will be.
Okay. So what more do you think can be done or should be done to ensure that India does indeed become the food basket of the world, and that too sustainably?
So we have to focus more and more on now export promotion. So we are focusing quite a lot on developing of the food processing industries, hand-holding these small farmers and these women SHGs. But now the next step would be to train them into making the export standard qualities. Because when you want to export to these larger countries, there are a lot of regulations and policies which are in place. So that's the next leg of growth, where the small scale industries would directly start to export instead of going through the merchant exporters. That would bring about the export change in India.
And these would not just be agro products, but associated farming related products as well, including animal husbandry, dairying and everything.
Yes, of course. So there is a lot of potential in and around the entire agri and allied segment. So we have a lot of innovative products also coming from the animal husbandry or the dairy sector, like goat milk, cow milk, these kind of different kind of products. Too. Yes. So there is a lot of demand. Now the only need is to make the export push for these kind of products.
Okay, wonderful. Well, let's hope that also happens through events such as this. I guess this is completely geared towards ensuring that we export more and more processed food as well, apart from food in general. Thanks a lot for joining us and talking about it this evening.